collective bargaining and workers' participation in management. The history of collective bargaining is as old as the history of trade unions in the country. The growth and development of the process of collective bargaining has progressed along with four phases of trade union development. First phase 1950 to 60s period of substitution. Second phase mid 1960s to century period of economic stagnation and political instability. Third phase 1980 to 91 period of uneven economic development. Fourth phase 1991 onwards post economic reforms and structural adjustment. The phrase collective bargaining was coined by Sydney and Beatrice Webb, and according to their definition, it is a method by which the trade unions strive to protect and improve the working conditions of the workers. Collective bargaining is defined as the ongoing process of negotiation between representative of workers and the employers to establish the conditions of employment. Collective bargaining per se has been defined by Encyclopedia Britannica as the ongoing process of negotiation between representative of workers and employers to establish the conditions of employment. It has been defined by Encyclopedia of Social Sciences as a process, discussion and negotiation between two parties, one or both of whom is group of persons acting in consent. The resulting bargain is an understanding as to the terms and conditions under which service is to be performed. Dash. The International Labour Organization (ILO) has been defined as negotiations about working conditions and terms of employment between an employer, a group of employers, or one or more employers' organization on the one hand, and one or more representative workers' organization on the other hand, with a view to reaching an agreement. From the time of Industrial Revolution, the managements have single point agenda of improving the productivity and functional efficiency. Initially, experiments had been carried out by approach of scientifically measuring time, work, etc. had only resulted in managerial movement, and over a period of time it got negated. The advent of the human relation concept has led to the basic thought that employers are human beings and they deserve to be treated properly and not like machines. It is here that the human approach has assumed significance in union management relations. Exhibit 17.1 Workers showed that by company thugs. 5 estate workers died when the thugs working for Assam Tea Protection Security Force shot at a crowd of 1,000 peaceful protesters on 29 September 2003. 9 people were injured in the shooting. Demonstrators were demanding an increased bonus for upcoming festival at Khobong Tea Estate in Tinsukia district of Assam. The Khobong Tea Estate produces over half of the tea produced in India, and tea prices in 2003 were lower than 2003 levels. This can be the statement. This is a source from World Socialist website 2003 www. Workers' participation in management tries to reduce the dichotomy created by Industrial Revolution. The advent of democratic governments has raised the hopes and aspirants among the employees for industrial democracy. Thus, workers' participation in management (WPM) has assumed more significance. It implies that the organization follow participative and consultative decision-making processes, especially in the matters pertinent to wages, working conditions, and jobs of workers. Workers' participation in management tries to reduce the dichotomy created by Industrial Revolution, which led to watertight compartments called management and operational workers or personnel. It tries to bring in synergy by addressing the hopes and aspirations of the workers of being involved in decision-making process related to waging and conditions. Freedom of association. The Committee on Monitoring International Labour Standards, the National Research Council of USA, has created a template for evaluating a country's compliance with freedom of association and effective recognition of the right to collective bargaining from three perspectives: legal framework at all levels of government, the government's performance in implementation, the overall outcome. Source of the criteria for assessment are as follows: presence of legal provision that entitles workers or employers to establish organization of their choice without prior authorization, extent of legal restriction on the ability to organize certain categories such as civil servants, teachers and workers without contracts, presence of certain sectors where there is no right to organize, presence of legal regulation that permit employers to dismiss or replace striking workers. The overall outcome is assigned based on various factors such as union density, frequency, and length of strike and percentage of workers covered by collective bargaining. Exhibit 17.2 provides insights on a legal decision on the right to strike by the Supreme Court of India. Exhibit 17.2 in defense of the Supreme Court ruling on strikes. The Supreme Court judgment on the right to strike is only a reiteration of its earlier decision in 1962 in All India Bank Employees Association versus National Industrial Tribunal Air 1962 SC 171. The Supreme Court observed a right to form a union guaranteed by Article 19(1)(c) does not carry with it a fundamental right in the unions of formed to achieve every objective for which it was formed. Central Civil Services Conduct Rule 1955 in the form in which it now stands prohibiting any form of demonstration is a violence of government servants' right under Article 19(1)(a), right of speech and expression, and (b), right to assemble peaceably and without arms, and should therefore be struck down. Again in Radhesham versus Postmaster General Nagpur Air 1965 SC 311 311, the Supreme Court observed a parcel of Article 19(1) shows that there is no fundamental right to strike. In this case was a violation of orders which were issued under Essential Services Maintenance Ordinance 1960 prohibited strikes in any postal, telegraph or telephone services by the employees of the Post Telegraph Department by resorting to strike. Clearly, strike cannot be fundamental right of an employee. It can be held as a valid restriction as it is permissible by the application of Article 19(2) to 19(6). However, any such restriction must satisfy in the following three board tests has been held by the court in various judgments. A restriction may be imposed only by or under the authority of a law made by appropriate legislature. There must be nexus between restriction imposed and objectives enriched in the respective clause, and the restriction must be reasonable. Feature of collective bargaining. The main features of collective bargaining are as follows. It is essentially a group action and is integrated by the representative of workers. The process is flexible as it provides for both parties a scope for compromise and facilitates a mutual give and take environment for final agreement or settlement. It is a two-party process where both strive to arrive at an agreement for settling a dispute devoid of animosity and mutual hatred. Features of collective bargaining. Features of collective bargaining. It reflects implementation and industrial democracy. Why collective bargaining? The advantages of collective bargaining include prompt and fair resolution of workers' grievances and regulation of the terms and conditions of employment. The growth and development of industrialization in the West has been more stable and orderly on account of sound wages structures, which is the result of a successful collective bargaining process. Improving the economic strength of the union as well as the management, facilitating uniform working conditions, prompt and fair resolution of working grievance, building industrial jurisprudence Prudence by introducing civil rights. Principles of collective bargaining. The principle for efficient functioning of the collective bargaining process for unions as well as management are as follows. The process should provide scope for union leaders to educate the management about the desires and grievances of the employees, and in contrast, it should also provide a scope for the management to explain the economic constraints is in not accepting the proposals of unions. Both parties should have respect for each other and should also have power to enforce the terms of agreement mutually agreed upon. Both parties should have the spirit to abide by the law applicable for the collective bargaining, the state and the national levels. Ties of collective bargaining. The following are some of the ties of collective bargaining. Simple plant bargaining. The bargaining between a single trade union and management at plant level, which is currently prevalent in the USA and India. Multiple plant bargaining. The bargaining between management having multiple manufacturing plants and the workers employed in these plants. In an unprecedented legal decision in India on 6 August 2003, the Supreme Court SC ruled that public workers no longer have a legal or more right to strike. The decision was a direct result of the strike by the government, staff and teachers in Tamil Nadu is so called concession. It ruled that a total of 1,56,106 of the sacked Tamil Nadu workers may be rehired provided they apologize and sign a no strike agreement. Dash dash dash. Exhibit 17.3 is court ruling outwork strikes. Note here, the right to collective bargaining and ancillary right to strike was an invaluable right of government employees. It has been secured after years of toil and effort. The ILO made aware of the control ruling in a letter from M.K. Pandey, General Secretary of CITU, wrote to the national government asking it to renew commitment to workers' rights at national and state levels and to initiate collective bargaining in Tamil Nadu state. Sources: International Meta Workers Federation, India, 6 August 2003. Yahoo India News, 17 August 2003. The Indian Express, 11 August 2003. The Hindu, 25 August 2003. Multiple employer bargaining. The bargaining between unions of the workers and managements. For instance, the bargaining between the bank employees union and the Indian Banks Association in the banking industry. Exhibit 70.3 provides insights on a legal decision in India outworking strikes. Stages of collective bargaining. The collective bargaining process has three main stages, that is identification stage, the negotiation stage and the stage of contract administration. In the process of identifying the problem, both the parties had to decide if the problem needs to be addressed immediately or alternatively can be deferred for some time. While negotiating for the agreement, the chief negotiator from the management side presides the process and presents the problem, its scope and initiative views from both parties. After listening to the arguments and counter arguments, he or she facilitates a solution which is acceptable to both parties. The collective bargaining process has three main stages: identification, negotiation, contract administration. Exhibit 17.4 discuss the role played by international unions of food, agriculture, hotel, restaurant, catering, tobacco and allied workers as association IUF in building coordination and cooperation among tea unions. IUF tea unions build cooperation and cooperation. Following the decision of the first agriculture workers trade group conference, IUF is building solidarity and cooperation among unions in the industry by bringing together tea workers unions from the world's principal tea producing regions. Initial meetings were held in Africa and India, and a global meeting bringing together plantation and processing workers was planned. Africa. Poor pay, bad housing and poor health and safety standards were among the issues identified by the tea unions as the major problems and organizing priorities facing tea workers at the IUF's first African regional tea meeting held in Arusha Tunisia from 16 to 20 October 1995. Unions felt strongly that any such code should not substitute collective bargaining but should give unions the space to organize and to strengthen their collective bargaining capacity. Basic pay rates varied from $10 per month in Uganda to $30 per month in Zimbabwe, Kenya, and South Africa. The meeting identified the main pesticides used routinely in tea plantations, some of which were on the dirty dozen list of the most toxic pesticides. Recently, there has also been some work done on establishing criteria for fair trade of tea from plantation employing workers. Unions felt that emphasis here should be on fair trade goals, working with unions so to strengthen freedom of association and collective bargaining of agreements. South Asia. Unions organizing tea plantation workers, tea estate staff workers, and tea process workers in Bangladesh, India, Nepal, and Sri Lanka met in Kolkata from 6 to 10 November. The meeting brought together unions from the full spectrum of South Asia politically divided labor movement, including two unions affiliated to the national centers such as All India Trade Union Congress, AITUC, Center of Indian Trade Unions, CITU, Hindustan Mazdoor Sangh, HMS, Indian National Trade Union Congress, INTUC, and National Labour Organization NLO in India, and Nepal Trade Union Congress, NTUC, and General Federation of Nepalese Trade Unions, GEFONT, in Nepal. Protection against agri-chemicals and pesticides was likewise inadequate or non-existent, with workers suffering the effects of widespread water and groundwater contamination. Bargaining strength. Despite the relatively high level of unionization to build great unity, the union president agreed to oppose the presence of multiple unions in tea gardens and packing units and to work together around the following key points: low wages, rising casualization, increasing women representation in trade union structures, child labor, etc. At a special session of the meeting, Martin Kunj of Transfer International, a European-based fair trade organization, and Annie van Wezel from Dutch Union Center FNV introduced a discussion on a fair trade issues and consumer action and the potential links to plantation workers' unions. Following the meeting, the All India Brookie Bond Employees Federation, one of the participation unions at its Federation Working Committee, decided to initiate visit to tea gardens owned by Brookie Bond, a Unilever subsidiary, to discussion cooperation with the plantation workers unions. The key factor determining the success of collective bargaining is contract administration. Both parties should understand the term and condition of contract, explain it to all the workers at large, and build support for its effective administration. The trade unions of Asia Pacific region hereby adopted the following declaration: the trade unions are facing the challenges posed by imperialist globalization and the structural adjustment program indicated by the Trinity of World Bank, IMF, and WTO. The economic policies based on free market economy have only held the multinational corporation and monopolies, leading to super profits for the corporate sector and increase in unemployment and poverty. The gap between the rich and poor within and between the countries has increased very fast. In the organization sector, downsizing, called right sizing, reduction of manpower through retrenchments, and so-called voluntary retirement schemes, a hire and fire policy, attack on social security, etc., are resorted to all on the plea of competitiveness and depicted as an interest of consumer, though in reality these are done for the greed of corporate section for super profits. Denationalization. mergers and takeovers are taking place, which also led to attack on the workers. The organized sector has been dismantled. The organized sector is being dismantled and jobs are shifting to ancillaries and the unorganized sector. Instance power looms, parts of engineering goods manufactured by small units are mostly on the piece rate basis. The garment industry also comes under same category. In the developing countries, because of backwardness, the small and medium industries, the cottage in, and tiny industries, the hawkers and small retail traders and others do suffer. The traditional unorganized sector, which includes agriculture workers, hawkers, biddi and cigar handicrafts, gem and jewelry, leather goods, power looms, rickshaw drivers, handload workers, brick kilns, fisheries, etc., live on low wages without security or service and with no social security or welfare schemes. In most of developing countries, the right to organization and collective bargaining are not implemented, or large numbers are excluded. For instance, engineers, technicians, and supervisors, teachers, and government employees can't organize trade unions and have no right to collective bargaining. The contractor workers, casual or temporary workers, the workers on time bound contract, all come under the category of unorganized sector arising out of structural adjustment. Women are engaged more and more in the unorganized or the informal sector of the economy. Equal wages for equal work are denied to women. The labor laws, whatever adjust, are not applicable in the export zones or the economic zones. We are confident that an alternative is possible. Live long workers' unity. Workers of the word unite, unite. Collective bargaining in India. Collective bargaining in India has been growing mostly at the plant and organization level and not at the industry level. In India, collective bargaining has been growing along with the growth of trade unions, and first collective bargaining agreements was made in textile industry of Ahmedabad. Problems with the unions such as absence of strong unions, multiplicity and and intra union rivalries, lack of initiative by the government for the development of process of collective bargaining, easy accessible of adjudication leading to loss of sheen for collective bargaining, strengthening the trade unions organizationally and financially by making appropriate amendments in the Trade Union Act 1926 through various incorporations such as compulsory registration of trade unions, enhancement of membership fee, and reduction of external influence on union bodies and office bearers. Exhibit 17.6 discussed a case of favorable settlement and reinstatement of workers. Future of collective bargaining in India. In India, the labor institutions are compatible with the government's officially promoted industrial pluralism and bilateral collective bargaining. The independent rank and file led unions have come into this is Sunway and Intercontinental Hotels. Sunway and Intercontinental Hotels. In April 2004, when the IUF affiliated Cambodian